flung open again with an exhalation, and the children's mother entered in a blaze of crimson, rubies scattered in her hair, diamonds piled round her neck, the points of light from the room reflected in them all. "My darlings, my dear ones, you all look divine." Mrs. Liddell pressed her gloves to her bosom. "How proud I am. Now, you will all be quite good, won't you? For me, for your mamma. Oh, Miss Prickett, please don't stand by the cold collation. It is not a good backdrop for the children. Too much pink. Stand by the chest." Mary blushed. "Yes, ma'am." The children's bones, under the stiff material of their dresses, felt frail, like those of birds. "The first guests are approaching. I heard their carriage," said Dean Liddell, coming in, brushing off his sleeve. "I had banked on a few more moments' peace." He took up position just behind his wife, the long fingers that extended from the sleeves of his dinner jacket rubbing against each other irritably. The doorbell rang. Mary breathed in inside her corset, her ribs grating against the whalebone struts. Now it would begin, she thought. Her life. "Mr. and Mrs. Farquhar?" rang out the butler's voice. Her life up until this moment had not been what Mary had expected, or had been led to believe to expect from her books. But now that she had been taken on as the governess to the most important family in Oxford, she always italicized these words to herself, it must begin to take on a weight and a motion, a velocity, in fact. And this party was the first sign of it. The diamonds that hung beneath Mrs. Farquhar's ears were heavy enough to draw lines in her earlobes. Mr. Farquhar was as tight in his jacket as a fat beetle in its shell. Mary would meet a different sort of person now, maybe even tonight. She might, she had thought of it all through the preceding night as she fell asleep in her unfamiliar bed, find herself exchanging some brief but deeply felt words. She might even leave an impression now that she was here. She who had spun through life like a burr looking to hook its edges in. It happened in literature. It could happen in life. And, of course, the Queen. Someone from a fairy tale. She was the reason for all of this. Tonight, Mary, plain, poor, obscure, and little, was to breathe the very same air as the Queen and her consort come to visit the Prince of Wales, who was matriculating at Christchurch. In the music room looking-glass, Mary saw that, in spite of her efforts, her face proffered out of her collar like a dish of pork and potatoes. Her mouth was too big, looming above her high black ruffle. She pursed her lips to try and compress them into a rosebud, but she looked horrible, aggrieved, and she let them go slack. Mary was always being asked what the matter was, and had concluded that the problem lay in the shape of her lips when in repose. The doorbell rang again and again. Nobody wanted to be early, nobody wanted to be late, so as a result they all arrived together. Soon the music room was crammed with people. They stood or sat with flushed cheeks and brightly coloured dresses, carmine, turquoise, and vermilion silks. Cigar smoke floated above them all in an acrid sea. Mary and the children found themselves pressed back more and more on the tea chest. "Dear me, have you moved from this spot yet? I thought not. Circulate, please, Miss Prickett. I want my children seen," said Mrs. Liddell. Mary blushed again. She pushed the children forward a step, but there was no one to circulate towards. Out of all of them, she recognized only old Lady Tetbury, who still wore her spaniel curls though the fashion for them had long died out, and the Vice-Chancellor, Mr Arundel, with his beard that projected from his chin as a solid thing. Neither of them was approachable, either for her or the children.